Hey everybody, I'm not, it says starting, so I'm not sure if it's actually, okay, there's the right thing. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying your Memorial Day. For those of you who had your day off, like I had my day off today, so I didn't work all day, I'm just here. And so I hope you guys are having a good day. Today I want to talk about that phrase, actually. What does good day mean, right? Good days are very, very personal, right? It's to you, your good day might be coming home and everybody's quietly reading books. Or my good day might be that I get to spend all day outside because the weather's nice and nobody's fighting. Or your good day might just be as simple as only having one argument instead of 6, right? And so in order to create that good day and take the steps to get you there, you first have to define what that means to you. So it's a very, very personal thing, and so that's why one of the journal pages within the workbook has space for you to define what a good day looks like to you. Now this, for the rest of the challenge, and as you're creating your schedule for yourself and your children and things like that, this is going to kind of be your why. This is the backbone of what you're trying to create. So when you're going through your priorities and you're saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I want the kids to do or not do today, however that ends up working out, it's all going to have to go back and be in support of that, what is a good day to me, right? And also, good days can be relative, especially when you have a child that has ADHD. For me, sometimes I would think of things like a good day was just 2 arguments instead of 4. Or if, no, he might not have remembered to make his bed, but then he did come and help in the kitchen when I asked him to. Or, didn't argue and I say, okay, let's read before bed. There was no fighting, there was no anything like that. So good day can also be relative. And so that's why it needs to be personal, but it needs to take your needs, your wants, and then your child's needs and wants into consideration too. Or what they can and what they can't do. That's why I always, the relative thing is better. Especially when, like, I was working with trying to get Liam or teach him to control his outbursts or how to redirect that energy in a more positive way. A good day, like I said, literally might have been 4 arguments instead of 6. Or that he had an argument but didn't have a meltdown. Or when he went to school and he got punished work but not detention, right? And so when you're going about and planning and defining what good day means to you, you really need to keep that in mind. Progress is better than perfection always, every day, right? And so, of course, we would all like to come home and have the magic fairy have done everything great and the kids are hugging and, the house is clean and supper's cooked. All that's perfect, right? But perfect's not what we're after. We're after good because we're after good to be able to be consistent with it. And it's not going to fall from the sky. It doesn't just magically happen. You can create it, but you have to start by defining it. Let's see. And then once you have like your definition and it's very clear to you and it's very real to you and it's something that's passionate, then that's where you get to start creating, right? And so if you say, tomorrow is Tuesday, it's the first day at work, a good day to me would just not have the kitchen a disaster when I get back home. That's good enough for that day. So then when you're planning your day, what you're going to do, what you want your children to do, you kind of revolve it around that thing. Or if it's fighting or if it's, or whatever it is, or if you're trying to get getting them off the screens, too many screens, or you prefer them read books. Like you have to kind of define what you want in order to get there. It's not just going to appear, some days kind of feels like that, but it's usually not. It's decisions you make and goals that you set for yourself, and then you can communicate with the rest of your family on how to make those things happen. And once you have those priorities, things like notes and reminders are going to be your keys to success, especially when it's, it might be notes to yourself. It's like, okay, good is good, good, not perfect. That's all we're after today. Or even general reminders. Hey, you've been on the screen for an hour or so. It's time to get off. Like just reminders, notes, things that trigger memory. Like we talked about yesterday with the ADHD brain, time is a strange concept. It's either now or it doesn't exist. And so the reminders for yourself and for your child to do the things that will both create the good day that both of you want, right? So don't worry about that. And then also having very clear thinking, right? Okay, I needed 5 things to happen today in order to have a good day. I didn't get all 5 done, but we got 3. That's still good, right? It's not a catastrophe. There's no, it's still worth celebrating and it's still worth commenting on and it's still worth complimenting the people in your life around. Hey, we did these 3 things today and that's great and I'm so glad we got them done. And because we did 3 today, let's work on getting all 5 done tomorrow. But it's a clearer thinking when you're not so emotionally involved in, when your emotions are, when your thought process is clear, then your emotions can actually be a little more objective. So you can start grading things that way. Now, there are certain pitfalls when you're going to judge your day, because really you're judging it. You know, you're trying to decide, okay, this is how I want it to look, and this is how it actually looks. And so I know with my life coach, one of the things we talk about all the time, that the root cause of pretty much every bit of unhappiness is judgment and comparison. You're either judging something as good enough, not good enough, or you're comparing yourself to others. Or for me, my big issue was comparing myself to who I thought I should be. I had this manual in my head, and everything I did, said, how I looked, how I acted, everything was like this imaginary book in my head. And so that's a lot of times, I always talk about shoulds. Should is kind of a bad word. And so when you find yourself saying, man, he should have done that, or she shouldn't have done that, he should have known better, I should have known better, all these different things. Anytime you use the word should, you need to stop and catch yourself and realize that you're comparing yourself, and then you're judging the situation, and that's not going to get you where you want to go. Because when you're doing that, it's actually you becoming critical of yourself and everybody involved, and it's going to really detour you from your goal and from your objective of having that great day. I know for me, yesterday, part of why I'm a little bit discombobulated today, my middle son was supposed to be going to a school function, a work study thing in Belize, and he didn't get his passport in time, so instead of leaving yesterday like he was supposed to, he's not going to be leaving until Wednesday. And it seemed fine, like everything was okay. He spoke with his professor, got permission to be there late. It's not going to have any adverse effect on his grade, but I was still like aggravated and frustrated all day long yesterday, and I didn't understand why. Until yesterday afternoon, it dawned on me, I was like, I was shooting all over him too. I was sitting there and thinking, he should have applied for his passport early. He should have done this. He should have known better. He should have. And so instead of enjoying and appreciating the fact that, hey, he's home for a couple of more days, which is great because he normally lives an hour and a half away, so I don't get to spend as much time with him as I used to. His delay gave me a couple of extra days to spend with him. Instead, I was like subconsciously judging him, judging myself. I should have done it, and maybe if I'd have taken over, then he wouldn't have done this. All this kind of shoulds and shoulds and shoulds, and it ruined half my day. Now, once I caught my head, and then of course he felt the energy too, so all day long he was asking, Mom, what's wrong? Why aren't we doing this? You seem like you're grumpy. And I was grumpy, but I didn't want to argue, because I couldn't quite figure out why I was grumpy, so an argument wouldn't have been in use. But once I figured it out, I was able to sit down and explain to him, look, this is what I was doing. I'm sorry I did this. I wanted to control everything. I wanted, that kind of thing. And so we ended up having a great evening. But I had to get that should out of my head. I was judging him, and then of course I was beating myself up. Of course, I should have known better, that whole thing. So when you're going to create your day, be careful when you start shoulding on yourself, on your child, on everyone else, right? And so just to kind of summarize, you need to understand that your good day, it's a very, very personal thing, and it can be relative. And it needs to be within the confines of realistic expectations. Like I said before, getting 3 things done versus 5 is still a good day. Having 2 arguments versus 6 is still a good day. Having food to eat, even though it wasn't like anything that you planned, that's still a good day. So just keep those things in mind, and then when you're prioritizing and making your list of things to do and your activities and stuff that you want to plan around, this is going to be your ultimate goal. So every action you take, it should be in relation to how closely it's going to, or how quickly you're going to get to that goal. So everything needs to kind of support your why, and your why is your definition of a good day. So please, again, like I said yesterday, I actually prefer when I have some kind of interaction going on and I can respond to questions or concerns, things like that. So please post in the group or ask questions, and I can tack those onto the videos at the end. I will reply to your comments and stuff as we go forth. So anything, questions, concern, confusion, just post it in the group and let me know how everything's going. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.